What's up? I'm Eric Blackwell. I attend Strake Jesuit, and I'll be attending Baylor University next year. And I'm going to tell you all about what Jesus has done in my life. So I grew up in this church at FBC, here at FBC. My mom actually worked here. I went to church services, went to Sunday school, spent countless hours in youth choir. It's great. I was just kind of going through the motions, and I didn't really know it. I knew Jesus' story, but didn't live it out. Didn't mean anything to me. So fast forward to 6th grade, during the summer, I was at my grandparents' house in North Carolina, and was playing baseball with my grandfather and 3 of my brothers. And my grandfather was pitching to us, and we were hitting, and I got up to bat. He pitched me a ball. I hit him, and it struck him on the side of his head. It knocked him unconscious, and he died that day. In my mind, at that age, I blamed myself for this freak accident, called myself a murderer, just felt so empty and felt like I had no one. This just haunted me for the next 2 years of my life. Moving on to 8th grade, my best friend Harrison Hannah invited me to the youth group, and I started to go more and more, started to feel loved, started to feel like I had a place to be, that I had people that loved me, felt cared about. Ended up going on the mission trip and adventure trip that year with the middle school, and both trips were awesome and very eye-opening experiences, especially the adventure trip, which is where I accepted Jesus as my Savior, and I tasted and experienced Jesus, and things started to become real, and I wanted to follow after him. And so that summer was great. It was really awesome. And I went on to high school, went to Strake. It was a really, really rough transition. I didn't know that many people going in, maybe 5 or 6 people. And I didn't have very many friends. And I would find myself for the first couple weeks at lunch just walking around campus by myself, telling myself that I was doing something when really I just didn't have anyone to go to or sit with at lunch or do anything with. And later that year, or during that whole year, I'd been preparing and training to try out for the baseball and basketball team and put so much time and so much effort into doing that. And a lot of my life has been about sports, and I love sports, and I still do. Tried out for both teams, didn't make either one. I was so crushed. I put all my hope in these sports and not in God, and God was nowhere to be found in this year, and for the first part of my freshman year, and I just felt empty again. That emptiness came back, and I turned to everything except for God for satisfaction, and it only left me more empty. And I was still active in this youth group. I would still come around, but I would come and just put a mask on. I would just be someone I wasn't. I would tell people I was doing well when really no one knew what was going on in my life. Summer came around, and I went on the mission trip and adventure trip again. Both were awesome again. And especially the adventure trip. We went to Idaho and got to camp out in God's creation, and it was awesome. And I remember one night while we were worshiping, I just began to reflect on this past year and just realized that I had just completely just rejected Jesus from that year and just completely left him out of everything. And I just began to have this strong and piercing conviction. I was not being who I said I was. I was putting on a face. I was being lazy in my faith. And I was just holding on so tightly to these worldly things and not Jesus. And I just remember asking God that night to let me just respond to this conviction. Let me just give me the courage and the strength and desire to respond actively to this conviction. And not to be only a hearer of the word, but a doer. I realized I didn't need any of these worldly things. I didn't need sports, just Jesus. And so that was really where Christ became real in my life, and that was where I decided I want to live for him. And so I gave my life to him that night and haven't turned back since. Things haven't been perfect, but God has always been there. He's always been present. I've been blessed with the best group of friends imaginable and an amazing accountability group. Such an awesome group of guys. And Jesus is my rock and foundation. I'm nothing without him. He sent his son so that I could be made new. My life is no longer invested in these temporary and worldly things, but it's invested in an eternal hope that is Christ. And to the 8th grade confirmation class, I want to leave you all with a verse. It's Romans 12, 1-2. Therefore, I urge you, brothers, in view of God's mercy, offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will. And I would just say, if God's doing something in your life, don't be ashamed, but be unashamed. Do not conform, like it says in this, do not conform to these worldly things, and don't hold on to these worldly things. There's nothing better than Jesus. There's nothing more satisfying than Jesus. Thank you.